Hello, and welcome to the Mare podcast. For those of you who are new, we speak to a different guest each episode and discuss their past, present, and dream careers. My name is Jordan Andrews, and I'm joined by my lovely co host and friend, Jacob Power. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. I'm a bit sleepy, but I'm a bit awake.
So you're right in the middle.
I'm right in the middle, Goldilocks.
Exactly where we want our listeners to be.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of paying attention and dozing off.
Well, you can't have a dream job unless you fall asleep.
Exactly.
That's a really good slogan for this podcast.
Yeah. There we go. God, we're good with these, aren't we, with the slogans?
Yeah, we didn't even need ChatGPT for that one.
Yeah. I'm fine, thank you, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. I'm actually very awake, so I wouldn't make a very good listener for the podcast.
You can only listen to the beginning. And you have to hand over your earphones to me.
And my badge and my gun.
You do look very awake. Your eyes are like frighteningly wide open.
Yeah, I'm staring at you so intensely right now.
Your eyelids are above your eyebrows. Somehow.
Oh, the hair from my eyebrows is itching my eyeballs.
First world problems.
Now, Jacob, would you believe it? Wood spelt W-O-O-D.
Oh, yeah.
That this episode we're joined by Jamie
Radford, a.k.a.
the Great Norfolk Carpenter. Yes, Jamie Radford, although you might know him as the Great Norfolk Carpenter. Jamie is, as the name suggests, a carpenter and also a rising social media star. Now, you may have seen him on TikTok or Instagram, where he uses slick editing to show you day-in-the-life style videos of the carpentry work that he does. Jamie also has a renovation page called Radford Renovations, where he films the renovation he's doing on his soon-to-be home with his girlfriend. And on top of all of this, he's a lovely bloke.
He is. Very lovely.
And we had a lovely conversation with him, didn't we, Jacob?
We did. It was very not wooden.
Oh, we do have a laugh.
In fact, it was perfectly pine.
Okay, whatever you say. Oh, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we're both trying to think of good ones.
If you don't listen to this on release, you can go back and listen to it whenever you want, because this really is an evergreen episode.
Yes, that is true.
That is tree.
That is true. That is tree. If you had a little pig-like creature and the joints connecting the two halves of your legs, you might say, "Here's my Mahogany." Seamlessly woven into the rest of this intro.
We can fix it in post.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's pack it in with the puns, and shall we get on with the bleeding episode?
Pack it in with the pines, more like.
Oh! Jamie, welcome to the pod. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
How's your day been? What have you been up to?
Been good. I have been putting up a timber conservatory today, not far from me. Pretty rainy today, unfortunately, which is never fun when you're working outside with wood. But apart from that, all good. What about you?
Me, I cycled to Bath today.
Cool.
And just hung out in Bath in the sunshine because it's been really nice weather here today.
Lovely.
What about you, Jacob?
My day's been very boring. It's not really worth talking about, to be honest. But what is worth talking about is, can you spot the difference? Little visual game for the podcast.
Yeah, you've got a new bookshelf.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And it's made of wood, which is
very nice.
Topical. I mean, the old one was made of wood as well, but this is proper, like, wood-coloured wood.
Nice.
Wood-coloured wood. That's a technical term, isn't it, Jamie? Wood-coloured wood?
That is, yes. That's what they taught me in college, that is. Because
Some people
wood-coloured
say that
wood.
wood is brown, but I disagree. I think it's its own colour. Discuss.
Yeah, I agree with you. Depends on the type of wood as well.
Well, yeah, because you'd have like mahogany wood, and that's like
Yeah,
mahogany
but
coloured.
I mean, just
so...
normal wood, just like wood with no further explanation. Like this is just wood, isn't it? It's not like it's not mahogany, it's not pine, is it? It's just wood.
Just wood.
I'm right about that, aren't
It's
I?
just
We've got
wood.
the expert. I mean, it is, isn't it? Let's be honest. I know this means nothing. I'll have to put a picture of my bookshelf up on Instagram the day this is released.
maybe the listeners could play a little game and drink every time we say wood in this podcast. Obviously, you're a carpenter by trade.
Yeah.
Is that something that you wanted to do when you were little, or did you have other ambitions when you were a kid?
I wouldn't say from a young age I said to myself, I want to be a carpenter, but I was always interested in building things. So, like, I was always into Lego and all that sort of stuff. I was really creative. I can sort of draw as well sometimes. I was quite a lot and draw things and woodwork at school, and then moving on to like product design in like A level and that sort of thing. And then I just sort of fell into that, as that was what I was sort of better at compared to other stuff, because you get to choose like different subjects as you get, I don't know, further up in school. And I found myself drawn to things like engineering, hands-on, because I just found it easier to learn by doing things rather than reading.
A kinesthetic learner, I believe, is
that what it's
the
called?
technical name. Yeah, is
Right.
learning
I'll
by
remember
doing.
Yeah, I mean, a good example of that for me is I think I'm really like that, and I therefore really struggle to play board games because I cannot bear someone reading to me the rules of how to play it. I can't learn like that. I need to play the game in order to learn how to do it. Recently,
I
I went to
completely
Jordan's
agree.
flat actually, and his flatmates, hi Harry, hi Josh, were trying to persuade me to play a board game, and I was like, if I haven't played it before, if I don't already know how to play it, then I'm afraid I'm going to be a misery. So are you the same as that?
Yeah, exactly. But my girlfriend is the complete opposite. She has to read things. So I'm sitting there for about 15 minutes while she understands it, and then she shows me, and then we play. So it's a bit of a build up to do something like
I'm always one of those that's like, we'll just play and I'll pick it up as I go along. Don't tell me I don't care about the rules. Just tell me when I'm doing it wrong and I'll figure it out from there. Like,
yeah.
What did you do for A levels?
I done product design, media studies, and maths.
Well, that worked out very well for obviously what we're going to get into with product design and media studies in particular. It sounds like even if you weren't sure at that point, you had a vague idea of what you were going to get up to eventually.
Well, yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Makes you wonder.
You said earlier that you weren't very academic, but doing A-level maths that's no mean feat.
Well, anything to do with writing and English, I just can't do. No matter how hard I try, it just doesn't stay in my head. Whereas I think, because of the type of job I do, numbers and angles and that sort of thing just does. I don't know if it makes a difference if you enjoy something or you don't, whether that stays in your head or not.
I think it must do. Things that appeal to you, it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
When I was at university, I did philosophy, and there was a course on the philosophy of mathematics, which I didn't do. But one of my peers wrote a paper entitled "Do Numbers Exist?" Apparently, the answer was no. But I didn't read the essay. That's that. So I don't think you'd have enjoyed that. Neither would I, frankly.
No.
I think I liked maths when I was younger, when it was like year 7, year 8, and you'd get like the exercise books and they'd make you do the same kind of calculation over and over and over again to practice it. And I like that feeling of like, oh, I know how to do it now. I can just keep repeating it and getting the right answer. And then they done algebra, and when they started bringing letters into the equation, I was like, no, this is stupid, really. Now it's maths is numbers, isn't it? You're just confusing things.
Yeah.
I'm doing English for letters. I'm doing maths for numbers. You know, it's daft.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
But I guess you must use a lot of things in like trigonometry. Is that the thing that would come in handy for carpentry?
Yeah, but instead of trigonometry, we call it 3-4-5 because it's just an easy way, a standard way of remembering it. So 3 centimeters one way, 4 centimeters the other, 5 between means it's square, and you can just do that on any measurement,
Okay.
anything, and that works square bang on. It's just an easy way of doing it. It's a dumb way of doing maths, but so easy.
3, 4, 5. Oh, I've never heard that before. That's good.
So 3, 4, 5 is in. Hang on, let me try to get my head around this. So you've got 3 across.
So like not very good for the listeners, but like that.
You got 3 here.
So 3
4 here.
Oh, so 3. So if you've got a triangle, you've got 3 on the upward one, 4 on the bottom.
Yep.
And then 5 is
and then
the
5
hypotenuse.
Between. Yeah.
I see. That's not
you can
always
use
true,
that
though, is it?
Every time. 3
You
squared
can
plus 4 squared
keep scaling
equals
it up
5
though,
squared.
can't you? Yeah.
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 Okay, yeah. Sorry. No, for some reason I was thinking, but there are triangles that are more than 3. What if you had one that was, but it would be
6, 8, 10,
proportionate to 3,
yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Yes.
But why would it? But what if it was 3 and 3?
Then
Well,
it
then
wouldn't
it's
be
not.
square.
Square.
Then it wouldn't be square. That's what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the missing.
Yeah.
So if you've got 2 triangles tessellated together, if that's a word, that are 3, 4, 5, they make a square. No.
No, they make a rectangle, but it just means that the angle in here is at a bang on right angle. So if you've got a level bit of timber here, and you measure 3 centimeters up and then 5 between the 2 points, that means that this is technically at a perpendicular angle exactly to this bit of timber. Whereas if it was like that, it wouldn't measure 5 of whatever unit you're doing, vice versa.
Still don't understand. So this is 3, 4, and then the hypotenuse is 5, and they link up nicely.
Yeah.
Why why does that come up a lot? That specific thing where you've got 3 down, 4 across.
So if you have like a square that you've just made out of timber, imagine this, but let's say the square, I don't know, is like 6 by 8 meters, and you need to make sure it's square, like as in perfectly square, so it's at a 90 in the corners. You tend to do 3, 4, 5 so that each side is bang on square, and then if it's square, you can then work your building off of that as well. Say like bricklayers probably use it quite a lot for their footings for bricks and all that sort of stuff.
So you said if you have a square that's 8 by 6, but that would be a rectangle, not a square. Are you saying that square, do you mean the corners are perfect 90-degree right angles?
Yes, that's what I mean by square, yeah.
Okay.
Not an actual square. It's just square to each other.
Yeah. So let's say that, okay, so I've got this bit of wood.
Yeah.
And I want to find out whether that's 90 degrees.
Yeah.
I draw
3 up.
I measure 3 up and I measure 4 across.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I position it so that it's 5 across here. And then what do I do?
Well, you measure between your 2 points, and if it's 5,
yeah,
then it's square.
What if it's not 5?
Then it's not.
Then it's
square.
out square.
Yeah, but then what do you do? Like, how do you then turn that in? So if I do that and it's 5.1, then how do I change it so that it's square?
Well, you just change the angle of your saw on your bottom bit to get the bigger measurement. But if it's like a big square, like if you imagine just 4 bits of wood together and a massive hole in the middle, you just like either squish the ends in to just change the measurement. So you move the bits of timber to basically make it 90 degrees. So it does measure that in between.
And how often does this come up? Quite often, by the sounds of it.
A lot. Yeah, a lot, yeah.
You'd have thought they'd invented a tool to do that. Like could you get like a right angle bit of metal and stick it in there and...
Yeah, you can get them, but you can only get them up to probably about sort of a metre by metre. But then when you're doing big, massive buildings, timber buildings that are 19 metres by 12 metres, your little square in the corner that's a metre by metre, that might work in that corner, but over 19 metres, that could be way out, couldn't it? over that length because you haven't got the best
Yeah,
measurement over the
okay.
longest distance.
And in fact, it's just come back to me that it was a squared plus b squared equals c squared, wasn't it, for the hypotenuse?
Yes.
And if a and b are 3 and 4, then that's 9 plus 16, which is 25, which is 5 squared.
5.
So there we go. QED.
There you are.
QED.
Yeah, quad erat demonstrandum. It's what you put at the end of a mathematical thing to say. It means it's been demonstrated, or you prove something and then you write QED, just mean I've demonstrated it is true.
Well, there you go, Jamie. Next time you're building a house, you can just, with your pencil, you can just write QED on each of the bits of timber.
I'll write that on the stud work.
Yeah. I've proved, demonstrated that I've built this house.
And then another carpenter called Quentin Eric Desmond will be arrested for defacing property.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Quentin.
stupid.
How come you didn't do like a BTEC in like carpentry or something? Is that a thing? Can you do something like that, like something that's a bit more vocational instead of doing A levels?
Mainly because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I said to myself, if I go do A levels, I then at the end that gives me 2 years to sort of work out where I am, save up some money, and I can then sort of see where I am after that. And because then I have the opportunity, if I wanted to go to uni, I could probably find something to do, or if I wanted to go down a different route, I could do that. So it was mainly just giving myself 2 years to sort of grow up a bit, sort of go from there. And I don't think I would have been ready to do that at the age I was at 16. So I needed a bit more maturing to do, I think. So I think that worked out well.
Did you have any particular influences? Like, did your family go to university, or were your friends at school all planning to go to university, or did you have anything that was pushing you in any particular direction?
So all my friends at school all went to uni. I can only probably name 3 other people that went into the trade, and that's it. And out of like 150 kids, in my year, yeah.
Wow, really? So, that's so few.
Yeah, that's how big of a difference it is. So obviously, teachers tend to sort of push you towards uni, and I then figured out that the schools get paid more money if they send more kids to uni.
Yeah, they get more. I was a bit like, get more funding. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was a bit more like, should I be doing that for the sake of it, or should I need to think about what I want to do? It doesn't really matter what they think. I should do what's probably best for me. And I just sort of met the carpenter that I started working with through my girlfriend's dad. I just said to him, could I just come with you for a few days just to see if I like it? Just a bit of experience. And I've been with him every day since.
So you still work with him?
Yeah. So I still work for him at the minute.
Okay, right.
So you never did, would you taken on as an apprentice, or how did that work?
So I done a year for him, just like working as a labourer, because we both didn't really know what we wanted. So to him, I was just a helping hand for the first year, and I didn't really know if I wanted to do carpentry. So it was just, I was coming into work, gaining experience, making a bit of money. So I was sort of just learning as I sort of went. And then he said to me about a year after I started, did you want to do an apprenticeship in carpentry? And I was just like, well, I've got nothing better to do, so I may as well give that a go. And just sort of done that and really enjoyed it. So
you started out as a labourer. At that point, obviously, I'm assuming you're on site, you're watching the chippies working away. Were you, at that point, were you thinking, I like the look of that, I want to get into that? Like, did you think that's where you started getting that passion?
Yeah, so the thing that mesmerised me so much was watching someone who had 15 years experience in carpentry, and they just explain something to you, and that's your first day on site, it's just gone straight over your head. And then they just make it look so easy, and you just think, how on earth have you just done that? That's what really drawed me in. Is like, I want to know how to do that, because they just make it look so easy. After 15 years, it's like just second nature to them.
How did you find being in that environment? Because that must have been quite a change for you from being in school doing A levels with a lot of people who are planning to go to university to go into that kind of environment. How do you find that?
Yeah, that was a bit of shift in the energy I received. So as soon as you go on site, you're getting obliterated by people because you are useless. You just are because you have no idea what's going on. So you're just getting abuse thrown at you from left, right, and centre. But you have to remember they're only doing it for to better you as such. Because when I was at school, I used to take things really personally. If someone said something, just I don't know, oh, you look funny today, I'll be like, whoa, well, that's a bit out of order, don't you think?
Mm.
Whereas now I'll get called all sorts of things and just laugh and just give it back to them, which is quite nice. So it's definitely made me a bit more headstrong doing that sort of thing. So not like taking everything so personally and just being a lot more calmer and having banter with people, really, which is quite a nice part of the site, really.
Did you like it originally, or did you first have that reaction and then you had to get used to it?
Yeah, I used to come home thinking they hated me every day for quite a long time.
And did you have any? Because obviously you hear all the classic stories about like the initiations on site with like the new kid, like, oh, can you go and get us some tartan paint and spirit level bubbles and a long wait and things like? Do you get stuff like that when you started out?
Yeah, the big one for me was, could you get me a left-handed handsaw? And I just thought, yeah, I'll get that. And
Is that not a thing?
They're just a saw. No, it's a universal. They do left and right.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's
me
not
standing
such
in
an
screw
embarrassing one to
fix.
fall for as like tartan paint or
No.
a sky hook or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I would
Yeah.
think. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm particularly down with the chippies, but I would think that a left-handed handsaw was a thing, especially because it's got the word "hand" in it. I would assume, surely, they must
Yeah,
cater
that's
for
it.
left-handed persons.
Yeah.
Because
I
you've got
think
left-handed scissors,
most
and
of
they
the
cut things as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I did have a funny moment though, which it didn't affect me. It was someone else. So I was working on a site and it started really raining, and there was a couple of buckets outside, and some of them had water in. And someone said to the labourer, "Oh, just go bring that bucket of water in so it don't get wet." And he went and got it.
Oh, I love stuff like that so much.
I just absolutely died of laughter.
Just jumping ahead a bit, have you got to a point yet where you've been able to do one of those things to a more junior person?
Yeah, all the time. Whoever I can get it on is getting it.
Oh, give me some examples.
I was doing some fencing with someone. This was a private job on a weekend, and I told him, "Oh, I bet you can't lift a bag of cement above your head." I'm sure you might have seen it on TikTok. And just went slice.
And it all fell out onto his head.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I then spent like the next half hour spraying him with a hose to get it all out.
Wow, that's straight for the big guns.
I did like
Yeah.
there was one I saw on the was it On the Tools, that page, and it was like there was some piping that was sticking out of the floor, and what they'd done is they'd put two just like one of them was actually attached to the floor sticking out, and the other two they had just put on the floor next to it. And they all like three of them lined up, and the two of them who were in on it, they were like, "Oh, let's see how far we can kick these pipes." So the first two went and they kicked them and they went flying, and then the third one tried to lever it, and it obviously stayed where it was in the ground. He just really hurt his foot.
Oh God.
I love
you can
stuff
just
like
picture
that.
it now.
Yeah, so good.
Another good one is, I don't know if you've seen a big concrete saw, which is like a big orange saw with a massive blade that basically cuts concrete, and it's got its own engine on there. No, well, you can Google it now and you'll see what they look like.
Yes,
As they have their own engine, you have to pull the cord to start it. And I've seen videos of people when they say to the apprentice to start it, they say you need to bump start it. So they're running down the road, rolling this blade along the concrete, trying to start this steel saw.
Wait, what? They're running along with the saw?
Yeah, rolling the blade along the floor. So if you were
Yeah.
to try jump start a car, sometimes a bit of movement gets it going.
Right.
And obviously they think that does that.
That must make a racket.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So, so you were labouring, you said, for a year, weren't you? And then you got took on as an apprentice.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you then, that process of learning the trade, picking it up?
That was very, very fun. That was a lot more fun than just labouring. So because of the course, you had to get photos and evidence of you doing everything. So I had an excuse to do the nice stuff at work because I needed to get photos to pass for the exam. So once I started that, I noticed I got a lot more experience actually doing stuff, which was really good.
So was it with a partner institution, like a local college or something, that you did it through?
Yeah, so it was City College in Norwich, who we done the course through.
And was it all stuff like you did stuff on site and you gave evidence, or did you have to do any exam or anything at the end?
Yeah, so you had to provide a chunk of evidence to show you've done stuff. Then you had to practice stuff in college to learn the college way, which is very different to the site way. Both quite different ways of doing it. So site is the quickest way to do it, whereas the college is a bit of a slower, more methodical approach. So you then done an exam at the end, doing everything the college way. You got set 4 different tasks, I think. Mine was like a door, a stud wall, a little tiny frame to show you could do some little joints, and I think it was fixing into different materials and that sort of thing, what you would do for the processes in that. So it's quite an easy thing to do when you know what you're doing.
Did you find that when you were on site, were they sort of saying to you, like, obviously, you know, this is how college want you to do it, but this is how we actually do it when you're doing the job?
Yeah, there was a lot of that. It was very much, this is how I do it because this is how I've found the quickest way to do it. But this is probably how the college want you to do it if it was in your exam sort of thing. So because everyone finds their own sort of way of doing things in sort of any job, really. You sort of get given a bit of guidance on what to do, and then you sort of find your own way of getting to the same result.
So you started off obviously doing the TikToks. When you were starting out doing it, were you thinking, I'm going to make a go of this? Or was it like, oh, this be a funny thing to do?
It was more just, I found it funny for myself. So I thought I'd just make a few, keep making them as I enjoyed it. And then they started getting quite a fair few views. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And, you know, people were commenting like how funny it was and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, that's cool. So I just sort of kept doing that. And the video sort of slowly transitioned to me doing carpentry rather than about carpentry. And that sort of changed quite a lot. I imagine if you've looked back at the start, the videos are very different to what they are now.
Yeah.
So were you trying to do an exaggerated version of yourself, or were you trying to do a character?
Yeah, so to start with, it was more, I was trying to show the struggles I had as an apprentice, doing stupid things and that sort of thing, because then people sort of relate to that, because when you are an apprentice, you do feel very useless. So it's quite nice to see the funny side of that, and probably people might see the progress of how it's changed from a useless person to someone who actually can do stuff now. So, which is pretty cool.
What was the first video you did that kind of took off, and what was your reaction to that?
I think the first one that done really well was, it was my birthday on site, and I hadn't told anyone. and they'd figured it out somehow. They were like drawing it out with me because I was on a much happier state than usual, and they were like, "What's up with you then? What's going on? Why are you so happy for?" And they sort of pulled it out of me, and they then started doing. I ended up bowing both their arms. They just chucking me about, swinging me up, swinging me left, right, and centre, all about the site. And I uploaded that because I thought that'd be funny, and I think it had 500 views when I went to bed. And then I woke up in the morning and that had 150,000, I think. And I was just
Wow.
like, what has just happened? And then by the end of that day, I'm sure that was at about 400.
400,000 in one day. Wow.
I didn't really know what to feel like. It was very much, it was just a lot to take in because I think there was about 150 comments on there, which I have a thing where I want to read every single comment and reply to everyone. So I sat there in the morning, probably for about 45 minutes, just going through these comments and replying to everyone, and didn't really have time to sort of take that in, really.
So was this like for you? Had you been very active on or used social media much before, like just in your own personal life before you started doing this?
No, literally, like never. I only probably have 6 posts on my personal account, I think, and that's about it. And that has been, I don't know. I think one was my birthday, one was my girlfriend. I think the rest are my girlfriend, to be honest. So they're not even me. So it's her.
So it didn't come naturally to you necessarily to be putting yourself out there online. So was that quite a scary thing at first?
Yeah, it was to start with, but as I've almost created a character called the Great Norfolk Carpenter,
Right, yeah.
I almost find it easy to hide behind that, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because nobody really knows my name on there. It's nice to just do it as that, and people know me as that rather than my personal sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's quite a thing to go from not really doing anything like that to suddenly creating a character and making videos to put online. That's quite I don't know, that's quite a big decision, I guess, to jump to doing that. So had you ever previously had any kind of feeling that you wanted to, I guess, perform or entertain or do something like that?
Not really. I think it's literally just I thought it was funny once, so I just sort of kept doing it, and it's just sort of evolved as time's gone on, really. I never really thought to myself, I want people to know who I am, or I'm only doing this for so people know who I am. It was, I just enjoy recording stuff of what I enjoy and editing it, which I really enjoy. So it's that's literally it, and it's just sort of turned into something a bit more than just thinking that's what I wanted to do. It's just changed, come out of nowhere, really.
What did your like family and friends think when you first started doing it?
No one really sort of liked it as such to start with. Um, I think it's mainly because people didn't really get it, but it's very much now that you have, I don't know, some followers. I don't have that many. People are then like, oh, yeah, that's well cool, that is. And you think, well, a year ago you were saying that, you shouldn't worry about doing that. That's never going to happen.
How did the people on site react when you started filming?
They were actually really supportive of it. They actually really liked it because most of them are sort of between sort of 25 and 35. So they're not very old at all. And they sort of actually quite liked it. They were all very much, oh, can we be in it? Can we be in it? And stuff, which was actually quite nice because I've had a few people feature in videos, which has been quite nice, sort of sharing it with them, to be fair. So
No, that's nice to hear.
And what's your interaction been like with your followers? Do you have well, first of all, like what's your kind of audience? Is it exclusively other carpenters, or is it a broader range of people? And how do they interact? Do you have like lots of people who are consistently the same people posting on your things and interacting, or how does it work? I mean, I know the TikTok algorithm is quite complex and it pushes it to all sorts of different people.
I have quite a few people who re-comment and re-like and stuff on my videos, I always notice them because they're sort of similar names I sort of see. But I notice, because you have like analytics on there, how many people it meets that aren't followers.
Right, yeah.
And that is always a lot greater than the amount of people who have seen it who are your followers, because I think that's just how the algorithm works. I think that's usually how people interact, and usually it's people from the For You page that always says on there when they've commented and whatever. So
what kind of comments do you most often get?
I've noticed recently, over the last sort of month and a half, a lot of people have commented on my editing and said, "Oh, I really love how you edited this video." And I've had people privately message me as well who have gone out of their way to say, "I absolutely love your editing. How do you do that?" and that sort of thing, which has actually been really, really cool, having people like that comment and react to your work like that, which is really nice.
Yeah, how would you describe your editing?
Complex.
I would say that it's quite slick is probably the first word that comes to mind when I see, it's particularly with your newer style of videos, there's a lot of like snappiness with it. It will like sort of transition from what next bit to the next bit quite quickly, which is really cool. I was going to ask you actually how, unless you don't want to give away your trade secrets, how do you go about editing the videos?
Well, a wise man once told me a magician never reveals his secrets.
Okay. Okay. I'll stop asking then.
Yeah.
Do you ever get people getting in touch with you and wanting to give you carpentry work?
I've had a few people ask about that, but they never really sort of blossomed into anything. It was more of a, "Oh, would you be interested in doing this?" And I say yes, and then they sort of never message back after that.
Oh, right. Don't do that if you're listening to this.
Which is...
Yeah.
No.
Either ask when you mean it or don't ask at all. Come on now.
Yeah, that's it.
And what's so you said at first you're doing this character, so when did it start to transition from that to more informative content, I suppose, as opposed to simply trying to be funny?
Funnily enough, I was watching some videos on Instagram of a guy called Carpentry by Sam, and if you watch his videos, I would say his editing is 15 times better than mine. It is incredible, and that just inspired me so much. And I thought, oh, I'm going to have a go at trying to create some videos like that. And yeah, still learning, but his are just another level.
So when you go to a site now, as well as the usual kit, you bring what? Phone, microphone, tripod?
Yep. GoPro, some other sort of like a headband and a chest band and all that sort of stuff, really, just to prepare myself for all outcomes.
One of the other projects you've got is the renovation page with the house that you're working on. So did you want that to be like a separate project to the Great Norfolk Carpenter? I suppose it's more of a personal thing for you, isn't it, rather than this character that you've got?
Yeah, so I wanted to keep them both separate, and you'll notice on there it says Steffi and Jamie rather than Steffi and the Great Norfolk Carpenter, because I wanted to keep them separate. And I can't take all the credit for that because my girlfriend Steffi, she does a lot of the stuff for that. I just feature sometimes to try and get the views up.
The talent.
Celebrity cameo.
Yeah.
Because, at the time, I think when we were first talking to you about you being on the podcast, you had 12,000 followers on TikTok. And now, at time of recording, you have 14,000. So that's a pretty considerable increase in not very long. And it looks like...
this seems to be growing.
Yeah, one of your, I don't know if this is your most viewed one, but one of your pinned TikToks has 480,000 when you're sleeping under a bit of fiberglass, is it? Or is that what that is?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that your most viewed one?
No, so there's one other one that I think's got 800,000, but I just haven't pinned that because that's quite an old video and I didn't really like it as a video. I
Oh,
uploaded
right.
it just for the sake of uploading to fill the slots to keep my engagement up, and that just got 800,000 like it was nothing. And I thought I didn't even put any effort into that video whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, that's when you're demonstrating misuse of a chisel around some door hinges.
Yeah,
Do you,
yeah.
do you find that frustrating that a video like that where you haven't really put that much effort in can just blow up? And then maybe something that content creators say quite a lot is they tend to find that a video that they like put their blood, sweat, and tears into will hardly get any views, and then something they just chuck out on a whim will blow up for no reason.
I do find that frustrating because I always try and figure out how the algorithm works. So, like, best times to post and whatever to make your videos do the best they can when you do upload them. But I cannot work this out. I just can't. I've tried so many things and I cannot find a pattern or anything in that at all. So I just sort of make it up as I go and hope they sort of do well, really.
I want to go back to talk about the renovation thing a bit more.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us a story behind that?
So me and my girlfriend sort of thought to ourselves, I would really like to move out at some point in the next few years. We've saved up loads of money. We're sort of ready to go for it, but we're happy to sort of sit back and wait for the right house to come because we didn't have to pay rent where we were living and all this sort of stuff. So we were in probably the best position we could have been in. So we were like, if we wait for the right house to come along, we'll just go for it. And we were sort of looking for probably about 8-9 months, and then this house popped up. And to start with, we were like, oh, we're not too sure on that, and sort of left it for about a month. And that sort of came up again, and we thought, oh, should we just go have a look at it? And as soon as we walked into the house and looked at the back garden, we were just sold. We were just like, yeah, this is going to be the one. And it's just one of them things where you know when you know with something like that. And we just went full guns blazing and just went for that one and thought, we'll still live where we can, put the time and effort in now, just put the extension on, do the work to it. And then once we've done that, we haven't got to do it again if we didn't want to, because we've built a house which we can live in for such a long time. So it's almost like a no-brainer.
So, because you can see, obviously, on the Radford Renovations Instagram page, is there a TikTok as well? I presume there is.
No, there isn't, no.
Oh, it's just Instagram. Okay, interesting. But you can see on
Just
there that it's got quite a large, long garden that goes really far back.
Yeah, absolutely mesmerizing. Yeah, that was the key selling point. And because of my trade, once again, doing things like extensions, building work on the house, it comes a lot cheaper to us because I can do it. So we had toyed with the idea of getting a new build house that was already done, but it was almost, why would we go for something that was already built for us when we could build it ourselves because of the job I do? And you sort of have that stamp of, oh, I done that in your own house. So it was just like a match made in heaven, really.
Yeah, and presumably the house you got, which was, would have been cheaper than a new build.
Yes, yeah, a fair bit cheaper than a new build, and then we can spend the money on it to make it a better house.
Yeah. So chances are a lot of people listening to this, Jamie, are going to be white collar workers who've never touched a bit of wood in their entire lives, won't know anything about.
Yeah.
They'll know carpentry involves doing stuff with bits of wood, but they won't really have any conception of what it's like to be a carpenter and the skills you need to have and so on. So could you give us a bit of a carpentry 101 sort of overview of what skills does a carpenter have? What does a carpenter actually end up doing from day to day?
So, carpentry in general is measuring and cutting things to fit, if you want that to be a nice short way of saying that. But I would say Carpentry is a lot of skills you have to have in carpentry are measuring, leveling, making sure things are square, as we spoke about earlier with the 3-4-5.
Mm-hmm.
It's also thinking about the customer and how they're going to use what you've made. So opening a door a certain way to suit the customer and things like that. So it's like thinking ahead, thinking of ways and solutions for people with a problem as well. So making wardrobes, making cabinets, fitting kitchens, that's all solving a problem for a customer in just a physical way, is how I tend to see carpentry, which is actually quite good fun when you get given a task of, oh, here's a photo of what I like, just make it happen. And I absolutely love that because then your mind just goes wild with ideas and thinking of ways to solve ways of how they live and think of better ways of doing certain things, and that sort of thing really is really cool.
Yeah, so it's very broad and creative. It's not just sawing and things.
Yeah.
That's just part of it.
Yeah, they're just the sawing, cutting, and measuring are just sort of the stepping stones between an idea and a solution for the customer. That's just sort of just the middle part that no one really sees, no one really knows about, never really wants to know about as well. It's more, this is what I want. When will it be done? Can I use it? Basically, is what a lot of people say to me. But it's usually the process people don't really see is quite a longer process depending on what you're doing. But a lot is involved with cutting and measuring, especially when angles are involved. With let's say you've got a vaulted ceiling, which is a ceiling that runs at an angle that isn't on a flat. So usually most ceilings are like that. So they're square. So you have your wall run up, ceiling square, but you have a vaulted ceiling, which usually is up the wall, then usually about a 45 up to the ceiling, and then you have a little flat bit in the top bit of your ceiling. And working around stuff like that there's a lot more involved with that because you've got angles, you've got to think of things like airflow and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot more complications to it than people imagine, rather than just cutting and screwing and hoping it works.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that because it's always a problem when you're working with any kind of customer to work out what the customer actually wants. And often the customer himself doesn't actually know what he wants. So you kind of have to guide him a bit. Like do you have customers saying, oh, what do you think? How would you do it? Since you're the expert.
Yeah, that is probably what gets said the most is, well, you're the expert, just do what you think's best.
Which I imagine you must hate hearing.
I'd rather a customer came to me, yeah, no, I do hate hearing that, oh, you're the expert, you've done it. I'd rather they said to me, this is the sort of thing I like, but I don't want this, this, and this. That's just as good as saying I want this, 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 and this, because then well, I can't do that because they don't want it. So I now know to stay away from those types of ideas or whatever. But it's usually you end up doing something, asking for their opinion. They're like, oh yeah, no, that looks good, or no, I don't really like that. Could we do it like this or whatever? So it's also trying to think of a way to build it so if they do change their mind, sort of as you go through the process, it doesn't affect you too much. That isn't always the easiest thing to do, and sometimes you just can't. But where you can do that is best, because then it gives a nicer process for the customer, because they feel like they've seen it all and had their input into their own thing that you've put inside their house, basically.
It's interesting what you say about people saying what they don't want, because it's quite often the case with any creative endeavor that restrictions can be quite freeing. So it's just nice to know what the rules are, because then you can be creative about how you do the task without breaching any of those rules.
Yeah, no, that is good. I had some wardrobes I done the other day, and she wasn't too sure on the design of her doors, how she wanted them. And I must have said 4 or 5 different designs, and she said no every time. And she said to me, "Oh, you probably hate me if you keep saying no." And I said, "Well, no, I don't, because I'm glad you've said no, because I know you don't like that sort of thing. So I'm thinking of different ideas and whatever." Once she said no, so that's always good.
So if we have any potential customers listening, you'd say, think about what you want before you turn up, and don't just say you're the expert.
Yes.
Because in a way, it's interesting that you could get to the point of having engaged the services of, a carpenter, wait until he arrives, and only then gone, oh, what do I want? What do I want him to do?
Yeah. That does happen a lot.
Yeah. I wanted to ask actually about, it's quite a well-known sort of joke that among the middle classes, quite often people don't know how to behave around tradies who come to their home. I guess a bit like what you were saying, it was a bit of a culture shock going from, your previous environment into working on a site. Is there any like advice that you'd give to people who have people coming around about, what to do? For example, there's all the classic one is middle class people being unsure about whether they should like offer a cup of tea or not. That seems some people do, some people don't. What are there any broad bits of advice you can give?
Always make a cup of tea or coffee. Always goes down a treat. If you ever want a tradesman on your side and you don't want any problems, just make him a cup of tea, or her. Could be him, her. I don't know why I said him.
I guess you're imagining yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm imagining myself.
Imagining yourself with a nice cup of tea.
Yeah, and a biscuit always helps as well. A biscuit with it as well is nice.
And then the other thing is,
so I would say don't put out the whole packet, because they will be gone.
I mean, the other classic thing is you get some people who awkwardly hang around while you're doing your work because they feel like they should be there, or the people who think they have to go and hide somewhere in the house and completely stay out of your way. What's the right thing to do?
For me personally, I can't think of anything worse than the customer standing there watching everything I do.
But that must happen a lot.
It does happen a lot, yeah. But that just really, really annoys me. Because I think I just want to put my headphones in, I want to crack on, I want to get your job done, and you end up making some small talk. I don't know, you're talking about they had for dinner last Thursday, or something like that, which isn't really important.
Yeah. But I guess it's like it's the live show for your TikTok. They don't have to go online. They can,
Yes, yeah.
They're seeing it. They're seeing the full uncut stage version.
Yeah, that was funny actually. You say that because the other day I'd done a set of wardrobes for a woman down the road from me, and she hadn't been on TikTok for, I don't know, she said about 8-9 months or something. And she logged on the other day, and because obviously I'm a contact in her phone, I popped up on her TikTok.
Oh, right.
And then I just had this message come through saying Jamie, like just saying my name on the first message. And she didn't reply for about an hour. And I thought, why has she just sent me that? So I just sent back a question mark. And she said, I saw your TikTok the other day, and I didn't realise you were such a big deal on there. And the awkward thing was, I had made a video around there because she asked me to do a stupid job, like just put a screw in here. And I'd made a video about it, and she'd recognised that it was her house I was in, and said, I also saw this video.
Yeah, does that ever come up? Do you ever like tell the customer like, I'm going to record a video in case you're wondering what I'm doing?
Yeah, now it's got to the point where I say to the customer before I come that I am recording all my work that I do. So if you are happy with that, then that's fine. But if you'd rather I try to avoid you as much as possible, then that's fine. I just check with them first, just in case they have any personal reasons why they didn't want that to happen. But most of the time, they're usually quite pretty good about it.
Yeah, just if they're in like witness protection or something. They've got particularly like particularly horrible decor. So they don't want being made public.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah,
So
they
do you
got their
tell them?
slippers getting 100,000 views.
Yeah. Do you tell them why you're recording, or do you just tell them that you're recording? Or do you explain like how you have 14,000 TikTok followers?
It's usually I just send a message before I come. Is it all right if I record the job for a video for my social medias? And they say, yeah, that's fine. And then when you get there and get the equipment out, they start coming over and inspecting it and going, cool, that's a nice bit of kit, that is. What are you recording this for? And then you end up talking to them about it for a little while. And
Yeah.
then they end up downloading TikTok and then following you just because they want to be one of your followers. And
that's one way to get followers online, isn't it? You could just go house to house and knock on the door and say, do you have TikTok? Do you want to follow me? And maybe we should try that, Jordan, for the podcast.
Oh, I've been doing that, mate. Believe me.
Do you want to shout out any of the people that have followed us as a result?
Yeah, Doris next door but one. She's been lovely. She's been a day one supporter.
Listens to every episode.
Yeah.
How old's Doris? It's not a young woman's name, is it?
She's 94.
Happy birthday.
Well, I was going to ask actually in a similar vein to what Jacob was saying about your carpentry work. Do you have any general advice or sort of practical tips for someone who is looking to start a TikTok account, get into social media?
The best thing I could say is just do it and make videos and content that you like. Don't upload stuff that makes you feel insecure or anything like that. Just make videos you like and ignore comments. Just ignore the comments.
Well, yeah, because if you, like you say, if you're making stuff that you like, that should hopefully translate to the people that are watching it because you've got a genuine passion in what you're doing. You're not playing to the crowd. You're doing it for yourself.
Yeah, and you always find that whatever you do, you'll have your own little niche audience that you're tailoring to. And how big that audience is, you don't know until you do it. So for all you know, that could be 800,000 people, or it could be 50,000, or however big it is. If you enjoy doing it, just keep doing it because there will be an audience there. It's just finding out how big it is.
For someone who maybe has had the idea for a while, but they're nervous about putting themselves out there, what do you think gave you the courage to do it, to take that step and actually put yourself on camera?
It was a lot of alcohol to start with to get the courage to do it. It was it was right. I need to relax and just do it because it was very much a drunken yeah I'll make that, that'll be funny, and you sort of just put it on there and not really care about it. And that's probably the best view to have of it, is to try not worry about that, because hate is going to come no matter what you do. Whatever you do, there's going to be someone who doesn't like it. But you just got to take that as a compliment that they've taken time in their life to comment on what you're doing. So if anything, you're the winner because they've just spent 5 minutes of their life writing this comment or doing something for you, basically, just in a different way.
All publicity is good publicity, as they say.
Yes, certainly is.
We were talking about editing before. What are because I presume that all the skills that you employ in making the videos, apart from obviously the carpentry, are things that you've had to learn, teach yourself specifically for making the videos. What are the skills that you've learned through doing it?
I've learned how to use different camera angles in different ways and not just leaning my phone up against the wall to record a video. Thinking of the next shot ahead as well. Like to start with, it was very much, I'll record this, I'll record this, I'll record this. Whereas very much it's now, so I'm going to do this job. I've already thought of a video I want to make about it, different angles and stuff in my head already. And then it's just bringing that to life now. Whereas before it was very much just, oh, I'll do this stage, and the videos were very boom, 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 boom. Whereas now it's a bit more, I find them personally a lot more exciting, a lot more's going on. There's a lot more movement, different ways, and looking at certain different things in different jobs. So like exaggerating, I don't know, me putting in some rafters or something like that, making a more of a subject rather than the whole project. So focusing in on little bits as well, which has been quite cool, sort of doing that sort of stuff as well.
So, Jamie, now we're on to the home stretch, the final section, the dream job section. Before we jump in, we always like to ask our guests, do you already have a dream job in mind?
My dream job, as currently stands, would be doing the TikTok full time. So deliberately only doing carpentry to make videos for people. And I didn't have to do the carpentry just to live.
Right.
Hmm.
So, as in, you still do normal carpentry jobs, but you only do enough of them to make the content you need, and most of the money comes from the TikTok. Is that sort of what you mean? So you can be a bit more choosy about the
Yes.
jobs that you
Yeah.
do. So then would you be after the really plum carpentry jobs?
I'd really like to be the carpenter that does the work around famous people's houses and puts them on TikTok.
Okay, so it could be almost like here's the work I've done, and also here's a bit of the tour of the amazing gaff that I'm in.
Yeah, that would be a good program, actually. That would be a great TV program.
Yeah, I mean, is that the dream job? Is that making that into a
Maybe.
Well, yeah, because this is the
That
thing.
would be cool. You've got me thinking now.
Me and Jacob have the ability to just wave a magic wand and give you this dream job. So
Yeah.
don't limit yourself.
God.
So yeah, maybe it is a TV show. You're the star. The Great Norfolk Carpenter
That would be cool.
Yeah, travels around rich people's houses and does work for them.
Yeah, and just makes videos and just loves it.
I think we want to do a little rundown of your top 3 celebrities' houses that you'd want to, like, for your TV show pilot. Let's say you do 3 celebrities in the one episode as a proof of concept for the series. Whose house are you going to?
So one of them has to be Kygo, because I just love his music and I think he'd have a nice house.
Who's Kygo?
Yeah, I feel really old now.
Explain Kygo to us old men, please.
So he is a DJ who uses a piano to create immense tunes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking him up. Yeah, he
is very, very famous. You probably know his most famous song.
I imagine I probably would.
Firestone will probably be the one you know, or Stole the Show.
And he's Norwegian, so he might live in like one of those Norwegian wooden structures.
Yes.
He can do in the dream job. We can get him to move.
That is very true.
In like a really beautiful log cabin.
Because I mean, I'm imagining that
I think he would be number 1.
Okay, yeah, he'd be like your opener. So I'm sort of imagining that you're doing the work, and let's say as you have a section in the show where you're saying this is how you do whatever, this particular thing, and it's all nicely, you've got people filming it nicely, and you don't need to worry about that. And then you say, let's have a walk around, look at the big wooden structure, look at the fjords in the distance, and then you go and put your arm around Kygo and say, here he is. Say hello to the camera. Have a bit of banter with him like he's your best mate.
Yeah. Can I do the piano on your next tune?
Can you play the piano?
No.
You could make him a piano out of wood.
I could. A wood-coloured wood one or a coloured wood one?
Well, I guess that's up to Kygo, but I think one that's completely wood coloured would look quite cool, wouldn't it? Probably if it were me, I'd want it all wood coloured, but then the keys white and black painted, but everything else being wood coloured would be pretty cool.
Nice. I'm trying to think of some other celebrities.
We've done Kygo, and now we're in the show.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a transition. We're going somewhere else. We're going to do some carpentry in a different celebrity's house. You open the door. Who's there?
The first one that comes to mind is Post Malone.
Ah,
Okay.
another
I think
music.
he would be a cool customer.
person.
I think he
definitely.
would
He'd be
awesome.
He'd be the kind of customer who you probably wouldn't mind sitting and watching you do your work.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Why is that?
Because he's just sick, and he's just a really sweet,
He's
funny
just
guy.
so chilled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd make you a cup of tea?
Probably. Well, he probably wouldn't. He'd probably get someone to make you a cup of tea, but
Yeah.
he'd sort it out some way or another.
Well, would you like him to make you a cup of tea in the dream job? Because I feel like that would be quite a nice thing to say you've had a cup of tea made by Post Malone.
Yeah, I think I'd pass out with that, but I don't think I'd actually get to enjoy the cup of tea if he handed me a cup of tea he made me.
I thought you meant you'd pass out because he would have put drugs in it or something. But
Oh, no.
well, that's actually okay. This is another bit for the format of the show. Is say each episode you go to 3 celebrities' houses. At the end, then you get Jamie's rating of how good the cup of tea made by each celebrity was. So you could like Kygo.
Yes, that would be good.
Kygo did some weird Norwegian thing with the tea. He only gets 5 out of 10. Post Malone's tea made me pass out, but otherwise it was a nice traditional builder's tea. So 7.5.
And then the
who's
third
next?
person.
I think Michael McIntyre,
Ah,
Okay.
because he's funny, and I have looked up his house before, and he's got a really old traditional house, and that's my favourite sort of work to do, is old Victorian style, like sash windows, curved skirting, all that sort of stuff, which is really, really cool.
yeah. You've got a few videos with them, didn't you? Like what are the bits of wood that you just have on the wall, like going down the stairs, like in squares? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's that called?
Oh, panelling.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that was in an old Victorian house. That was really good fun.
What is it that you like about it?
I like it because you have to think a lot about it, and there's a lot involved with it, and it's not just you just put it on and that's okay, because the house is made of different things, so it's a bit more different to fix to, because obviously it's been sitting there for so long, things have got a lot more soft and whatever, so that's sort of changed over time. And I just love like curved staircases and curved banisters, just all that sort of stuff just really interests me, that sort of thing, and working out how I'm going to bend this bit of wood to make it suit that, and always angles involved, and yeah, love all that sort of stuff.
And I'll go out on a limb and say that I think that Michael McIntyre's winning the tea contest.
I would think so.
Yeah,
Maybe just because he's English.
he'd bring you a wagon wheel, I reckon, with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd come skipping into the kitchen and go, "Hello, Jamie!" and hand you a cup of tea and a wagon wheel.
Yeah, you can only have the cup of tea if you get this question right.
I think what he might actually do is the night before you're due to go to his house, he does that thing where he comes into people's bedrooms at night and wakes them up. And then, have you seen that on his show when he... And then
Yes,
he'll
I have, yeah.
interview you about carpentry, and then he'll do that thing where he texts everyone in your phone an embarrassing message, and there'll be like a crossover between his show and your show at that point. I think that's what would happen.
Cool. I did have a dream the other day that I went on his show because the TikTok had got really famous or something, and I ended up doing all the carpentry work for all the panelists that were on there.
Oh, really?
That was a good dream.
Well, that could be part of the show as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally a dream job.
That is.
I think that might be the first time, we've ever sort of crafted a dream job that was very similar to an actual dream job that you had, like a real life dream. Well, what do you think so far, Jamie? Do you think that anything is missing from this dream? Are you happy with the terms we've set for you?
I think so. As long as there's some wine gums or some sweets involved as well, I think that'd be good.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. We can
There'll
chuck that
be a
in.
trestle table, just backstage with all sorts of stuff piled up in it, I'm sure. Well, you know, like a lot of musicians are notorious for having those riders, you know, those things in their contract when they show up at a venue, they have to have a really specific list of items in their dressing room. We could get you one of those.
Yeah.
Bowl of wine
Oh,
gums.
yeah, that'd be good.
Bowl of Mao and pinballs.
Oh, yes. Now that does
Now I
sound
want to know
good.
what else is on the trestle table.
Terry's chocolate orange. That's got to make the. Got to make it.
Good shout. Good shout.
Just one?
Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper as well.
Oh, Jamie, a man after my own heart. Terry's chocolate orange and Dr. Pepper. Ooh.
Little fun fact is I have a Terry's chocolate orange sticker stuck to the bottom of my laptop. Over Christmas, I had a Terry's chocolate orange, and then I must have put my laptop down on the sticker. And then a few weeks later, I thought, what's that? And it's there. And it's still there. It's the only sticker on my laptop, on the bottom.
Ah, nice.
It's going to be there forever now. Obviously, this show sounds like it would involve quite a lot of traveling. Are you a good traveler? Do you like traveling?
Yeah, I love traveling. Yeah. I never was big on traveling because I never really done it when I was younger, but ever since meeting my girlfriend, going on holiday and stuff with them and traveling about, I just find it so interesting and fascinating, all the different places. Because it was funny because we went to America, and the thing I noticed the most was how they done carpentry out there. That was the first thing I said when we got to this place. They were building a villa. And I was like, oh, look at them. I'd like to go over and talk to them about carpentry. And you think you're on holiday. Why are you thinking about that? But that was
well, that could be part of the
cool.
format of the show as well then. So like if you're going to Norway to Kygo's house, part of the informative side of the program could be that you also have like a local Norwegian carpenter who comes along and tells you some of the things that they do there that's specific to that country, and you can learn and compare a bit there. And likewise in America, and likewise wherever else you go.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I like that idea.
Well, it sounds to me like we might have made a bloody good dream job for you, Jamie. So you are
I think
you're a star of the screen for your own TV show as this is a question actually, as the Great Norfolk Carpenter or as yourself?
The Great Norfolk Carpenter.
The Great Norfolk Carpenter, good.
Or it might be the Great England Carpenter if we're going worldwide.
Well, yeah, if we're international, yeah. And you will go to celebrities' houses. You'll spend some time in the country chatting to the local tradesmen, getting to know their craft and things they do differently there. You'll then go to the celebrity's house. Maybe you can have a bit of an informal chat kind of interview with them. You'll carry out the work on their property, also do a little bit of a tour of their house as well, and spend some time with them. And then you're on the private jet on to the next place. Because that was...
And the private jet's made of wood.
Yes.
Wood-coloured wood.
With a bottle of Dr. Pepper and some wine gums.
Yeah.
Like a bottle of Dr. Pepper on ice, like a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? You happy with that?
I think that sounds like a brilliant job, and I can't wait for it to start.
Well, if you'll shake our hands on that.
Shake, shake, shake.
Shake, shake, shake.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for taking the time out to talk to us, Jamie. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I really appreciate coming on and explaining everything, and it's been real good fun.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed hearing about carpentry because I was one of those people I didn't really know anything about it. So this has really been one of those ones that I think I'm going to learn a lot listening or doing this one, and I have. So great, thanks very much, Jamie.
That's good. I'm glad you've taken that away. That's a good.
Yeah, I'm sure our listeners will feel the same way as well.
I hope so.
Well, I don't know who those people were in Jamie's TV show, but I would watch that TV show and it would be my favourite TV show, I reckon.
Agreed.
And I have a feeling, I mean, you know me, do you think I would like the music of Kygo and Post Malone?
No. Honestly, I don't think you would, Jacob.
Okay. Maybe I should try it.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah. If you want to recommend a particular Kygo or Post Malone track to me, then give us 5 stars on Spotify and I'll get the message.
For every 5-star review we get, Jacob will listen to a different Post Malone song.
Yeah. And I'll blog about it. Is that, I mean, that's not his real name, is it?
No, his real name's Austin.
Austin Malone.
Yeah, I think so actually. Yeah, Austin Malone.
Is it post as in postnatal, as in after? Or is it post as in male,
I think it's post as in the first one.
after Malone?
Yeah. But from what I've heard, he's a lovely guy. As if I as if I know people that know him. Yeah, it's funny, yeah, I was having a good chat with Idris Elba the other day, and he was saying that he ran into him at one of the award ceremonies, and apparently he's a lovely bloke.
I prefer Home Malone.
Yes, yes. You've reminded yeah, I do need to catch up with Macaulay
Mm.
soon. So
I looked a lot like him when I was little. When I was about his age that he is in Home Alone, I looked very like him.
you did actually, because you were very blonde as a child, which
Yeah.
took me by surprise when I saw the baby pictures.
Yeah, people said it to me at the time.
And did you do the bit where he puts the aftershave on his face and then slaps his face and goes, "Ah!"
No, 'cause I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what aftershave was, so I was really confused by that scene.
So was I. I remember watching that as a kid and thinking, "Why is he doing that?"
And I didn't know what it was to the extent that once I bought my mum a Viking horn full of aftershave from a charity shop. And when I say Viking horn, it was a sort of ornamental horn about the size of a banana, but it was, yeah, but it looked quite nice. And I thought, I didn't know what it was, but I thought it was just some kind of ornament, but it was full of aftershave, as it turned out.
Did she like it?
Well, once she pointed out it was full of aftershave, and she said, obviously she said, I don't really need it, but it looked nice. But I kind of held on to it, really. She was grateful for it. That, it's the thought that counts. I think it cost me
Yeah.
£5. The British Heart Foundation shop in the Westway Centre in Frome. Shout out to that. I think it's still there.
Where are all my Froome heads at?
Yeah, no, it was a good present.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to it. We did move a lot, so it probably just went in the bin at some point.
I tell you what would be a good present for me, actually, and for our guest, Jamie, is if you followed us both on our social medias. For those of you who are new to the episode, it's Careers Mare or Careers Mare podcast everywhere. We post clips from the episodes, post other funny content on the Instagram, and check out Jamie's stuff as well. As I mentioned in the intro, the Great Norfolk Carpenter on TikTok and Instagram, and Radford Renovations on Instagram as well. Some really good content going on over on Jamie's page. And hopefully, if you all follow him and we get more and more people to follow him, then maybe his dream can come true.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it will happen for all our guests because they all have dream jobs.
Yeah.
Some of them are less possible than others. Is the issue?
Yeah, yeah, but a man can dream.
Yeah,
A man can dream, and you can't have a dream without falling asleep.
You can't have a dream without falling asleep. Good night.
Good night.